money doesn't buy you happiness. I disagree. Money bought me books which bought me happiness. So today we're looking at those books with you. Because I didn't buy just one, or just two, or three, or four, or five, or six, but 7 boxes worth of books. Hello guys and welcome to another video. You guys probably didn't know this, but I have been on a book ban for almost a year. When I say book ban, I mean physical books because of course I've still been consuming ebooks. I have been collecting books for over 10 years at this point, which means that I don't have enough space in either of my bookshelves to justify buying every book I want, or even just a book a month. So I kind of imposed a non-official book buying ban on myself for the last year. Obviously, when I went to New York to visit my friends and I got to see Barnes & Noble for the first time in like 7 years, might have spent a little bit of coin on books there. And if I see a book that I like in a bookstore that I know I'm going to read, that I know fits in my collection of a series that I already own, I'm like, okay, I can get this. But other than that, I went cold turkey, which is why this week, when I was feeling a little bit sad, I was like, that is going to end. So I did the only thing that I could. I went on a book buying spree. Money bought me books which bought me happiness. So today we're looking at those books with you. I'm not saying I should be your role model, guys, but this actually did make me feel better. Will I probably go on an unofficial book buying ban after this? Probably, but for now, let's haul these books and unbox them. The question is, which one should we unbox first? Let's leave the big box till the end. Packet number 1. Let's see what it is. The second I decided that I was going to spend all of my well-earned money on books, on a huge book haul, why don't I just buy some used books? It's cheaper and it's better for the environment, I'm guessing. I bought this secondhand and it feels so loved. Honestly, it's in pretty good condition. I kind of like the texture that used books have better than new books. If you don't know, this is the Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. It was very popular a couple of years ago. I'm pretty sure it's still super popular on TikTok, but I read it before I had TikTok. So I'm super happy about it and I can't wait to read this again and cry again. Look at the little note that came with it. It says, "Muchas gracias, espero que te guste el libro, un abrazo." So thanks a lot. I hope you like the book. Hugs. Oh, people are so nice. You don't get that from buying books from Amazon. Let me tell you that. I'm so happy that I got the cover that I wanted. Achilles, the best of all the Greeks, son of the cruel sea goddess Thetis, and the legendary king Peleus, is strong, swift, and beautiful, irresistible to all who meet him. Patroclus is an awkward young prince, exiled from his homeland after an act of shocking violence. Brought together by chance, they forge an inseparable bond, despite risking the gods' wrath. If you don't know the story of Achilles and Patroclus, I would say just go into this blind, and then come back and tell me how happy you are with me. This book, the ending is just where it's at.
What the
So, Trials of Apollo. What? No, that's Trials of Apollo. This is Song of Achilles. It's not for middle graders. I would say it's also not for YA. Now, everyone has their own opinion, but I think you should at least be 14. According to this, the young teen might be shocked by something they read, but reading something shocking now and again is actually healthy. The more you know. I don't remember if there's explicit smut in here, but I would say at least be 17 if you're going to pick this up. In terms of how spicy it is, that depends on your sensibilities, but it's written tastefully and it is integral to the story according to this. So proceed with caution is what I would advise. Also, if you're gonna pick this up, pick up some tissues. You will be doing some intense crying sessions, but you'll also be happy about it, so you'll thank me.
You're gonna suffer, but you're gonna be happy about it.
One of the ways that I justify buying books, which I don't need to do to myself or to anyone, but I still need to justify it in my mind, what I do is I buy a book that I've already read, and it doesn't make me feel guilty at all because I know that I already love that book, so it just deserves to be in my collection to show my appreciation for this literary masterpiece. Let's move on to the next packet. Let's see what we get in here. Ooh, ooh, ooh. A little peek at what's coming later, but I guess I'll show you because they, for some reason, came separately. Do you know what this is? Do you know what this is? See, this, it doesn't say thank you. It doesn't offer me hugs. It's the worst, but look at this. This is the best.
But this is a real find.
Just buy it. You don't have to rationalize everything.
I will buy it.
So you might be wondering, why?
It'll be good for the economy.
But look at it.
Look at this graph!
This is why I had never seen it against light. This is incredible. I might just stay here all day. This is The Lightning Thief by a little indie author called Rick Riordan. It's the first book in the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series, and as far as I know, this edition is used in many countries, but the one that I first saw it in was New Zealand. If you don't know, I went on a life-changing road trip with my family last year in New Zealand at the end of December and the beginning of January, and I watched half of the Percy Jackson TV show in New Zealand while living in a van. It was amazing. But I also saw these editions for the first time, and I wanted to buy all of them, but I could never find all of them, so I was like, I'm not going to buy 3 and then risk not finding the other 2 and then not have a complete set. Also, I didn't have a lot of space. So I decided I wasn't going to buy them in the end, which made me very sad because it felt so special to find these incredible editions on the other side of the world while I was watching the TV show. I don't know how it happened, but one day I was going through Amazon and then these editions appear, all 5 of them, and I was like, well, I might just have to buy them all. And I might have, or I might have just bought the first one. You'll just have to stay tuned to the end of this video to find out. I hadn't seen this before. It has blurbs on the back of the cover from little kids. Charlie H9 says, I love this book. My friend and I both got addicted. You have to read this. This is the cutest. That is such a cool thing to do. I'm not gonna read the synopsis because if you know, you know, and if you don't, then what are you doing on this channel? That's 2 books down. Let's go to number 3. Will this be another Percy Jackson book? No, it wasn't. I'm as surprised as you are. So here we have Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, an easy title to remember, and it is by Gabrielle Seven. Oh my goodness. No, no, no. What is this tiny font?
What is this? A center for ants?
How can we be expected to teach children to learn how to read if they can't even fit inside the building?
I'm sorry, you might not know this, but I wear glasses to read books. What do you mean? What do you mean this is like completely white paper and the tiniest font that's ever fonted in its life? No, no, no. Oh, wish me luck when I read this. Before I completely break down, let me give you some context as to why I bought this book. So a couple of months ago, my friends and I were chatting and we've always talked about books. So I was like, why don't we just start a book club? Because it's an excuse to read some books that we've always wanted to read, but you know, there's just some books that you want to read, but you never gravitate towards them because if someone else read them with you, then it'd be fine. But by yourself, it just takes a lot of effort to actually pick it up. So I was like, we can just get through all that list of books that we have together, and at the same time we can catch up because my friends McKenna and Brooke live in different states in the United States. Now we're each living in a different corner of the world, so I was like, this is the perfect time to do this. So it's called the Long Distance Book Club, LDB for short, and the first book we read was Hot Milk, which I did not enjoy, and you will find out more about that when I make my video about creating a book club. Let me know if you have a book club down below and some tips or tricks that you have to maintaining a book club because it's been messy so far. But this is the second pick of the book club. And what is it about? On a bitter cold day in the December of junior year at Harvard, Sam Masser exits a subway car and sees amid the hordes of people waiting on the platform, Sadie Green. Calls her name for a moment. She pretends she hasn't heard him. But then she turns and a game begins. A legendary collaboration that will launch them to stardom. These friends, intimate since childhood, borrow money, beg favors, and before even graduating college, they have created their first blockbuster, Ichigo. Overnight, the world is theirs. Spanning 30 years from Cambridge to Venice Beach, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow is a dazzling novel that examines the multifarious nature of identity, disability, failure, the redemptive possibilities in play, and above all, our need to connect, to be loved and to love. Yes, it is a love story, but it is not one that you have read before. We shall see, because I'm pretty sure this is about video games. I did choose this as the book club book of the month because of its pretty cover. And I've been hearing great things, so it better be great. 3 books down, let's move on to 4. And if you can't tell, this is also one that I bought secondhand. Every single book that I could, I bought secondhand. What is this? Oh, very convenient that it came in a yellow packet. The edges aren't absolutely perfect and the spine has been cracked. And you know, you can definitely tell that it's been read, but I don't hate that. In fact, I love that because now, even if I never read this book, I'm not going to feel as guilty for having it on my shelf. There's nothing I hate more than having unread books on my shelf. But this one is Yellowface by Rebecca F. Kwong, who I have seen everywhere lately. What is this about? I honestly am not too sure. This is one hell of a story. It's just not hers to tell. When failed writer June Hayward witnesses her rival Athena Liu die in a freak accident, she sees her opportunity and takes it. So what if it means stealing Athena's final manuscript? So what if it means borrowing her identity? And so what if the first lie is only the beginning? Finally, June has the fame she always deserved. But someone is about to expose her. What happens next is entirely everyone's fault. That is just such a fun synopsis, and the cover is so striking. Because obviously this is a white author who then claims to be Asian and has published like an On Voices Asian story. She's not only claiming to be Asian, she stole this story from a dead woman who was Asian. So messy. The font also not the best. What are these publishing companies trying to do to me? I guess I'll read it. 319 pages, and I'm just really happy with this. It will go on my rainbow shelf. And that's 4 down. Let's open our first big one. I have a feeling we might see a little bit of Percy Jackson in here, or maybe not. Maybe not. Let's see. Let's fish out our first one. Ooh, another book for our rainbow shelf. Ooh, this will be funny someday by Katie Henry. If you have been on BookTube for a long time, you'll probably know who Emma Books is, and she's been a really big influence on my reading journey because I have been following her for a while, and she loves Katie Henry, so she made me read her first 2 books. I think they're called Heretics Anonymous and Let's Call It a Doomsday, and I generally really enjoyed those, and the covers are just so cool that I had to pick this up. Look at this banana. It's the best banana. So what is this about? A girl walks into a bar, then onto a stage and up to the mic. 16-year-old Izzy is used to keeping her thoughts to herself, but when she accidentally walks into a stand-up comedy club, the performing experience is surprisingly cathartic. After the show, she meets Mo, an aspiring comic who's everything Izzy's not. Bold, confident, comfortable in her skin, Mo invites Izzy to join her friends and introduces her to the Chicago open mic scene. I would usually never go for something about comedians. Something about open mic and stand-up just makes me so uncomfortable. I don't vibe with it. The only problem, Izzy's new friends are college students, and Izzy tells them she's one too. Her controlling boyfriend is getting suspicious, her former best friend knows there's something going on, and Izzy can hardly remember all the lies she's telling to keep her parallel lives separate. And when they collide, Izzy must choose to either hide what she really wants or finally stand up for herself. Stand up for herself because she's doing stand-up. I see you, book. I see you. This has all the makings for a terrible book, or at least one that's going to make me cringe and have a lot of secondhand embarrassment. I hate it when a protagonist lies to the people that they love or lies to people to impress them and because they want to get into that inner circle, and they just keep fabricating more lies. The web gets so tangled and so messy that everything's gonna come crashing down at the end. And that scene where they're exposed to everyone is so painful to watch, but this is going to be a train wreck, I'm sure of it. But maybe a fun one. I'm looking forward to it. 5 books down, let's do our big boy. Because this box may seem huge, but it's actually half empty because I also ordered a vinyl, so that's why it's gigantic. Where are you? First book in here is, a hardcover. We have With a Little Luck by Marissa Mayer, the author of the Lunar Chronicles. She's moved on from fantasy a little bit and now she's focusing more on contemporary romance. I did not want to buy this edition. Let me tell you why. Sometimes on Amazon you go buy a book. It's like, okay, I like this cover, but then you're like, I don't like this price. So you click on paperback and it changes the cover to the ugliest, fuggliest cover you've ever seen in your fucking life, and you're like, I'd rather pay $3 more to have a pretty cover than have that shitty cover and have $3 extra. So I spent my hard-earned money on this hardcover edition of a book that I'm not sure I'm gonna love. I'm not loving my decisions, but those are already made. So we're moving on. If you're going to make me pay 18 bucks for a hardcover, at least make it halfway worth it. What do you mean? It's white and grainy. At least make it orange and interesting. This is the fuggliest book I've ever seen. At the very least, there's a comic page inside. Let's just say that I'm not too thrilled with this purchase. To give this book some credit, I have read almost every book that Marissa Mayer has put out, and I have read her other contemporary, Instant Karma, and I really enjoyed it. I really loved one of the characters. This physical book is not it. Let's see what this is about. With a little luck, the whole night surpassed every expectation. So why do I feel like something went catastrophically wrong? It doesn't make any sense. I need to ask her out again, I decide. A real second chance. I didn't know this was from a guy's point of view. Okay. Which would be what exactly? We could rent scooters on the boardwalk, or I don't know, a picnic on the beach. Nothing I think of seems right. I'm imagining things, I'm overreacting, I'm just being my normal self, full of self-doubt. Nothing new to see here. Everything's fine, I tell myself. Things are going great. They couldn't be better. This magic that's come inexplicably into my life is infallible. All those doubts are nothing but my own insecurities, easily overcome. I can win her heart. It will just take a little luck. And I have all the luck in the world. Okay, I kind of hate those kinds of summaries because like you didn't tell me anything. You might have told me the vibe of the book, but I don't know anything about the book. This cover tells me more, and opening the book tells me more because the reason I picked this up was it's about Dungeons and Dragons. I'm a Dungeons and Dragons nerd now, apparently. So that's book 6. Let's see what else. What else is in here? Our second hardcover. We have Lee Bardugo's The Familiar. I actually have a whole ass reading vlog for this book because I decided that I was going to read all of it the night before going to a book signing. So I read over 400 pages in one night, and it was very intense and I was delirious by the end of it. But I remember having loved this book, and I decided to commemorate that experience by buying a physical copy. Let's see it naked. Once again, I'm disappointed. They could have put like a scorpion here, or have the title at least. I'm not gonna explain what this one is about. If you like Lee Bardugo, you're probably gonna like it. If you like historical fiction with a little bit of magic, or a lot of magic, I guess, you're probably gonna like it. If you're interested in Spain or Madrid at all, then you'll probably be interested in this. And if you like, I don't know, scorpions, then this is your vibe. Moving on. Is there something else in here? No, just disappointment. That whole ass box for those 2 books and a vinyl. Incredible. 7 books down, let's move on to this box. I forgot this was here. I might have gone a little bit insane when doing this, damn. And there's still a book on the way. Ooh, Bloodmark. This is the second book in this series, the Legendborn cycle, and I read the first one, Legendborn, years ago, but I really liked it. I actually have a vlog about it because you guys decided that I should read it. In my old age, I like reading a series as a whole, so the fact that it wasn't all out made me not want to read it, but now I'm like, I'm just gonna read it because I remember I enjoyed it. I want to keep going. I will not read you the synopsis because it's probably a spoiler for the first one, but basically this girl gets early admission into college. I believe she's 16, so she's going to do those last years in college. Don't ask me how that works. It's American stuff. I don't know. But in there, one of the fraternities or something like that has ties to Arthur and Camelot. So each of them is descended from one of the Knights of the Round Table, and one of her love interests is the descendant of Arthur, and she starts training to be his squire. There's a lot of terminology. I'm definitely gonna have to read the first one again before reading this one. I remember thinking that although this was YA, and you could tell because of the romantic relationships, because this has a love triangle in it, and I hadn't seen a love triangle like this hard in a while. Despite all that, the writing was magnificent, and the storytelling and the world building was so good, so I was like, I'm gonna push through, and I'm gonna read it. Whenever I finish the readathon that I'm doing now, I will pick this up. Let's move on, because there's something else in here. And, ooh, yes, The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. Can you tell that I'm trying to broaden my reading horizons with this book haul? Which might sound a bit funny because half of these books I have already read, but the other half, I would say they're kind of outside my comfort zone. I love that this has a yellow spine. It's gonna look so good on my rainbow shelf. But this is The Midnight Library. You have probably heard of it. I have heard of it, but I have never read the synopsis. Nora's life has been going from bad to worse. Then at the stroke of midnight on her last day on Earth, she finds herself transported to a library. There she is given the chance to undo her regrets and try out each of the other lives she might have lived. So library and multiverse, you love to see it. Which raises the ultimate question, with infinite choices, what is the best way to live? And this is a fairly short book. So this book either has no acknowledgements or they're part of the book. So I'm gonna say this has 306 pages, which is the perfect length for a book, I would say. Also, look at this cover. You've been blessed. It's so cool. I hate this though. Why do you have to promote your next book in your best book? That's fine. 9 books down, let's get to the big box. I think you're gonna wanna know what's in the big box. Yeah, big box. Here it is, let's open it. Do you wanna peek? Let's see. Whoop. I think you know. Let's just take them all out at the same time, why don't we? Oh, lately I've been loving bright colors on book covers. It reminds me of my editions of Maze Runner. I almost wanted to say the Runner of the Labyrinth. No, the Maze Runner. But they are, of course, the new editions, or I guess not new editions, new to me, of the Percy Jackson and the Heroes of Olympus. No. Of the Percy Jackson and the Olympians books. So of course we have Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters. Again, let's just all appreciate them for a second. Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse. Percy Jackson and the Battle of the Labyrinth. Oh my god. This is one that I definitely saw in New Zealand. I was like, I need this. Even if Rachel's on the cover, I need this. Then we have Percy Jackson and the Last Olympian once again with the reflective lightning. Look at Typhoon. That was so cool. And then you're like, okay, that's over. That's all of it. But then you would be wrong. Are you living in 2024? Because there's one extra book as of right now, and it's called The Chalice of the Gods. Well, you already have all of those books. You definitely have the Percy Jackson and the Olympians books. And your best friend McKenna got you a signed copy of The Chalice of the Gods. And that's true. Thank you, McKenna. But at the same time, ever since this cover dropped, I have loved it so much better, because this is probably one of my favorite moments in the book. Freaking iconic and so good and so Percy coded. And I love this art style. So I was like, thank you, McKenna, but I want this one as well. And I feel like I'm a big enough Percy Jackson fan to justify spending my money on it. Also, I'm not gonna tell my family that I did. They're just gonna have to find out eventually. This isn't really one of the reasons why I decided to buy a second set of copies for the Percy Jackson books, but mine are very old, and I would say they are as old as this copy of The Lost Hero, and we all know what happened last time I read this. It's split in two, so I don't want to keep reading those books. I want to keep them in my collection because they're the ones that I've read like 10 times and that I've had for over 10 years, but I don't want to risk reading them anymore. So now, next time I have an urge to read Percy Jackson, I'll just pick one of these books up. In 10 years, I'll just have to buy a different edition of these when I've basically ruined them like this one. But you can't tell me that this wasn't worth it. You can't ask me where I'm gonna put it and I'll be like, maybe I could put that on my main shelf so you guys can still see Percy Jackson books. Let me know, where do you think I should put them? Look at them, they're so cool. And it has the funny tagline, half boy, half god, all hero. And they are now going to remind me of New Zealand. These are basically like a souvenir for me because they remind me so much of that trip. And I never want to forget about that trip. So they have the emotional component as well. I'm just trying to justify this expense, but I don't care. I'm happy, and that's enough for me. Yep. As a final book in this book haul, I did buy the Spanish Love Deception, not for myself, but for my cousin. It's going to be her birthday soon, so I'm just gonna give this to her because I know she's been wanting to read it. I have not heard very good things about it, but I now feel compelled to read it because the Spanish Love Deception, I am Spanish, so I feel like one of these characters, yeah, Catalina Martin has to be Spanish. I want to read it and see if it's actually like well written, you know, it makes sense to a Spaniard, or if this can only be enjoyed by a non-Spaniard, specifically an American. Also, the fact that the description of the guy here is the 6'4" blue-eyed pin in the Oz. He's British and he's 6'4" and he has blue eyes. That's enough for me to want to not read a book. But still, it's for her. She'll let us know. Let's take a look at all the books that I bought. Okay, so in total, I bought 15 books. I actually bought 16, but the last one is not here yet. So I bought 15 books. This is stabbing me in the neck. I bought 15 books. 8 of those I had already read, so it's fine, because I know I'm gonna love them. 6 of those I already own, so that's fine as well. But the other ones are new, and one is for my cousin, so I feel like this is extremely justified. Right? Please tell me it is. Honestly, these are the ones that make me the happiest. I'm just gonna show these to my brother and he's going to be like, oh my god, you're an idiot for having bought these, but that make me so happy. I think my other ones are close to disintegrating, so this is valid. It is. I have to move on with my life, trying to find space to put them on my bookshelves because they are packed right now. I might have to start double lining them. But that's fine. Please let me know if you have read any of the books on my haul. You've probably read the Percy Jackson ones, but what about the other ones? What about Yellowface or the Midnight Library? I feel like those are very popular right now. Please let me know if you have loved them or give me more recommendations because I am going to be done with my readathon pretty soon and I have been reading the books from the same series for like 2 or 3 months. So now I want to expand my horizons and read completely different things. So this is your moment. Leave your recommendations down below. Please leave a like if you like this video, and so I can make more videos like this down the road. Subscribe if you haven't already and click that bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. I make videos just like this every single Friday. No, I post videos just like this every single Friday, and I guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye!